Welcome to Winging It with Wingo with your host, Derek Wingo. Things look a little bit different. Down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, home of some of the best athletes in the entire world. Wanted to be able to keep this alive by bringing you behind the scenes access and what it's like for me training for the NFL draft and bringing on some pretty cool guests to talk about their past and their successes. Let's get it. Welcome to Winging It with Wingo with your host, Derek Wingo. And we're back, right? Looks a little bit different. As you can see, at the best high school in the United States, probably in the world, St. Thomas Aquinas, my alma mater. Gosh, I mean, it's a pleasure to be able to attend this place through all the history that they have, right? The Michael Irvings, the Bosa brothers, Elijah Moore, Asante Samuel, all the different people that came through this school onto the collegiate level and now that is in the NFL. I think, St. Thomas has, that pathway of athletes that has almost 20 guys each year that kind of goes on to play Power 5 schools and then actually goes on to play at the professional level in the NFL. So just to be able to be here among all these state championships, national championships is absolutely amazing. I had a chance to win 2 state titles here and even a national championship. So it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty amazing. Later on the show, we'll get to have head coach Roger Harriott to chop it up a little bit, talk about what it's like for him being the head coach of St. Thomas, and then just how he's installed this culture, right? This standard of excellence that they've kind of succeeded. 6 state titles back to back. I think he's got 11 on his belt alone. We'll get to chop it up a little bit about that, but first we'll kind of get into a little bit for what we got today. One of the most popular questions that I've got is, how did the University of Florida flip its season around? Everyone's kind of asking, the team that you saw at the beginning of the year towards the end. Well, I'll tell you real simple how it was. Coach Napier harped upon it a bunch in a lot of different press conferences. When we went into that open date, right? It was how we were able to change our practice habits and have the attention to detail to get things done the right way. And I think when we went into that open date, we started competing again. We started playing the game of football that we love and competing over and over and over again. I think that just transitioned to Saturday and how we were able to compete against our opponent and just not playing down to the level of competition that we were playing against. I think that, the buy-in of the locker room and everyone, there was no pointing fingers. There was no one, getting in there and getting on each other. It was holding each other accountable, showing up on time, doing things the right way. And I think that just progressed each and every single week. And as you can see, I think the projection was winning 4.5 games and we ended up, finishing 8-5. Obviously not the standard of what we want, but it's a stepping stone to where they're going to be. And I'm super excited. I know those guys are already back in training for this next upcoming season. I'm excited for those guys. They're going to have another tremendous year. But what that meant for me, right, as a senior, I've been through the ups and downs at the University of Florida, the different cultures. It's crazy now being able to look back at it, right? Being recruited by the Coach Mullen staff, right? Having 2 years there and then the Coach Napier staff coming in. Put this into perspective. I've had 4 different position coaches, 4 different head strength coaches, 3 or 4, I think, DCs, and 2 different head coaches. That's not something that you sign up for when you sign your national letter of intent when you're going to college. But hey, at the end of the day, I'm happy to say that I'm a Gator for life, being able to attend the University of Florida and be a part of just, the growth, the uphill battle, climbing that mountain, and now being able to just sit back and look at it and be able to just, continuously be an inspiration to those guys and being able to go back there and always have a place to call home. So that's something that'll always be, cherishable for me, and I'm excited to see them for the next upcoming season. All right, so we'll get into kind of what it's like for me right now and a ton of the other guys that are out in the world right now training for the NFL draft. What are they going through mentally, physically, what it's like. Obviously at postseason, you're signing with different agents. You're looking at getting invited to Senior Bowls and then who you're training with, right? Whether or not that's you're going home, you're going to a place like, Arizona to train, different places all around the world where they have different compounds that have the best resources for you. For me specifically, signing with my agent and coming back down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, being with Perform, obviously the gym that I've trained for almost 10 years now, feeling most comfortably there, and then how it works, right? Each day when you wake up, you're gonna have a different set of skills where it's, training on the field, doing your combine stuff. In the weight room programs, that's, working on your bench, your vertical, all things like that. Then they're able to hook you up with meal plans, preps that you're doing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Making sure you're putting the right things in your body. And then just understanding you're getting to see guys like chiropractors, things to take care of your body, the medical staff, doing all of the different needling and the different cupping to your body to make sure that your body is the best that it could possibly be when it comes to the combine or the pro day. And that's the end goal, right? How can you as an athlete lock in for this small, 8 to 12 week period to be at your peak performance, to be able to be in front of these coaches? And when you think about it, it's almost sacrificing months for millions. That's how I kind of look at it, being able to, put your best foot forward, sacrifice all the things that, a big thing that I've learned as growing up is, something that you see, it's always going to be there when you come back, right? Understanding that you need to put yourself first and do what you set out to do. That same dream that you had when you were 5 years old, be able to accomplish that, and that happens right now. So that's where we're at, and that's where a ton of different athletes are across the entire world training for the NFL draft. I'm super excited to be able to just, have this opportunity, right? Being able to train for pro day, and then put out amazing numbers when you get to have the opportunity to be in front of different coaches, having those interviews and all different things like that. But it's all going to be worth it. It's definitely something that's tough mentally and physically, but it's what you signed up to do, and it's what you've always dreamed up as a kid. So I'm looking forward to that. And when we come back, we'll get to have head coach Roger Harriott on to talk about a little bit more about St. Thomas Aquinas. Super excited to have this opportunity to sit down. Coach, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Coach Harriott, Roger Harriott, St. Thomas Aquinas High School. Go Raiders.
So if you don't know the name already, obviously one of the most prestigious high schools in the entire country, one that I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to attend a long time ago now. It's crazy kind of looking back at how many years it's been. I moved over to Fort Lauderdale in 2016 as a quarterback back in those days to come play for you, and getting to see the transition and just what it's like for seeing a young guy kind of grow up through his years in high school, and that's kind of when they really mature and figure out who they are. What's that kind of like for you as a coach to be able to have that experience to, be that aspect and that inspiration and just kind of that stepping stone for a young athlete, for someone like me and for all those other out there to have to touch?
I mean, it's more gratifying than anything else to watch young men go through their maturation process from a very impressionable child, extremely influential, ready for the world, kind of like yourself. You came in excited, in a foreign area, acclimated pretty quickly with the whole world ahead of you, and had to make some transitions, went through injury at an early age, and was able to experience so many incredible things from obviously stemming from athletics, but really progressed into your spiritual and philosophical development, which has enabled you to have a tremendous amount of success. One of our mantras here hasn't changed. Adversity gives you great opportunity to get motivated. You took that, and ran with it, but you also had a selfless spirit. You had aspirations, obviously, initially to be a quarterback, and then that quickly transitioned into your desire to be a defensive player, and understand why. But you were one of the more mature, prominent athletes, and you played quarterback for us for a period of time, and then went on to play defense in your senior year and became the Gatorade player of the year. and a lot of it because of your instincts, but more so than anything else, you were devoted to being committed to God, obviously, but as a son and a friend, and you represented yourself really well and your family, and as a result, you had a great experience and some tremendous accolades that led you on to be considered one of the top recruits in the country, and you ultimately became a Gator, and I think the adversity that you faced throughout your life that's allowed you to elevate to do extraordinary things.
Definitely,
contributed to your success at Florida. Not only on the field, but way off the field. So it's great. It's great to watch you guys grow and learn and become family-oriented men that are great community leaders. So I'm extremely proud. It's a great gift that you give to us, but more so to your parents.
Absolutely. With pro day and all that coming on, I think I might throw the ball around a little bit, try quarterback out again.
You may surprise some people. Like, hey, what's this going on here?
It's been a lot different how high school is now. From what it was back in those days. Now with, NIL, that not only just in college, but you have it at the high school level. I've heard that you're able to transfer schools mid-season. In my opinion, I'm not a big fan of that just because that takes away from, the progression and how you're able to grow, building a relationship with coaches and being able to kind of figure out the type of person, the character, and the player that you are. With that in high school, how does it kind of, translate to just how you attack the day with, your guys coming in, the aspect of, showing up to work every day. That's always your motto when, adversity strikes, how can you get motivated with everything going around and the distractions with now NIL and transferring different schools, how are you able to kind of just, keep that kind of tunnel vision focus?
I guess it depends on your perspective you have on life, I truly believe that it's important to live free, obviously within, respect to how you should conduct yourself. But I don't necessarily feel that, you should really be telling people how or where or what to do. So for me, I think it's advantageous to know that we stand for a certain, criteria, and our culture is, focused on the well-being and best interest of each other from a family standpoint and brotherhood. So it helps us, in my personal opinion, when we have certain people who are what I call me people, or in athletics they call them me guys. That's disadvantageous for the team that's we oriented, and you already know that our motto is you go, we go. So for those individuals who aren't really bought into that type of concept, it enables them to make transitions that I feel is in their personal best interest, and it doesn't convolute things here for us as far as our personal interest in development for all of us to serve each other, and our well-being. So the transfer portal from college and now transitioned here into high school, and specifically in Florida, you just take things with a grain of salt. I like to look at the brighter side of life, and I know that God's plan is much greater than our own. So I don't really get caught up in who wants to be here. I'm really focused on I don't get caught up who doesn't want to be here. I'm focused on who wants to be here, and that allows us to continue to grow and evolve. Now, as far as the NIL goes, name, image, and likeness, obviously there needs to be better parameters and
absolutely
criteria.
High school and college level with everything going on.
And I think just based on. And I'm optimistic, I haven't changed with regards to that. I feel that we're a very sophisticated species and, creatures.
Creatures of habit, yeah.
So I think that eventually we'll find a better way, and things begin to evolve in such a way where those that have, unethical, business practices will become, found out, and it will enable everyone to make life better for those of you who have, the right idea, the right game plan, to ensure that we're doing
right forces.
The right forces. That's
sure something.
We're doing things the right way. So
that's something that always stick with me. We always talk about that.
For good people are devoted to greater good forces.
That's that.
So we believe in that. So
gotta have the good forces. Obviously, a ton of state titles. I think that's 6 now in a row. When I was here, having so much success almost was hard sometimes. Like, when everything going on, you're a young kid, you're not fully mature yet, you're having all this success, you're having all these accolades, and you're also as well as getting all this recognition at a young age. That sometimes can be hard. I feel like you've had this way of transforming kind of younger players' mental aspect and the way they see things by, having little things like the keys to victory and all those things, the pregame meals, and all that kind of stuff like before. What kind of, went behind to have that, almost like a college tradition? We were out here at 5 a.m. out on the turf field without our socks and shoes on, walking around, and, film rooms after school right before we had practice. What kind of, that's almost like the separation between, a powerhouse, and then the transition to college. What kind of was your mindset and kind of installing that in this program?
I'm really just doing what we felt was in the best interest of your development, individually, and taking a parental approach. Some coaches, they allow their unhealthy ego to get in the way. We all have egos. It just determines whether you have a healthy or unhealthy one, and we realize that the time frame that we have with you guys is extremely limited. The window that God has presented to us needs to, be one for, your personal development, and we enjoy it, and we enjoy it with gratitude, though. A lot of there are a number of self-help, motivational, practices and processes out there in our industry. You hear individuals constantly talking about trust the process. And I think that's important to trust the process and have respect for yourself and those that are devoted to you. It's also extremely important to enjoy the process, and from that standpoint,
goes by fast.
Yeah, it goes by fast, but you want to have a positive experience throughout this, and enable others to share within the same. So that type of behavior resonates within itself and allows everybody to perform to a certain to a certain level of expectation. So your weakness should be complemented by my strength, and my weakness your strength should complement my weakness, and vice versa. And together we're able to do something great from a team-oriented standpoint. So that's what kind of came into that type of mentality, that methodology, to generate a more therapeutic environment, one that enables you guys to not only work hard and experience what you would like to perceive as being obsessed and devoted to giving
to the
your
process.
best, to giving your best, but also enjoying the entire process and experience as you evolve and work and grow.
The journey. Yeah, almost like a mindset of you're always as strong as your weakest link. And, that's one thing I've learned about getting older is, you realize that when you get to your end goal, right, you get to the top of the mountain, and that always wasn't, it's not always, perception isn't reality. That was a big thing that you always said. Perception isn't always reality. And when you get to the top of the mountain, the thing that you remember the most was the journey, the process up, the bumps and the hills and all those different types of things. And that's definitely something that, I've been through personally. I know several other people have been through. So, obviously in this room, ton of success, right? I gotta bring him up, Coach Smith, the king himself, all the success that he had before, everything that he's left behind. Obviously you carrying on this great legacy with you and Coach Russell and everything. What kind of does Coach Smith mean to you? I know that he had a great influence on me as well, and just to your journey as yourself.
Yeah, no, he's the epitome of a champion. He's somebody that those others see and they look to. He's bigger than life, and the reason why he gave so much of himself as a leader within this industry. He completely sacrificed all that others would believe is important. At times, family, money, and this became his calling, and he just did an extraordinary job of impacting men and women to be extraordinary. He just has a unique way and spirit to inspire, others
to touch other people all around,
to give
everywhere.
their best. He's a strong leader, and he believes in improving the people service industry, and he gave himself, heart and soul, and he still does. He's still with us here. The office is right next to mine. We go out to breakfast twice a week. He continues to lead, parent, and coach me, and I'm grateful to have somebody of that type of wisdom and knowledge around. But it's his spirit.
Yeah.
It's his love. It's his devotion to ensuring that you're not only represented well, but you're making decisions that are conducive to being great, well beyond your potential. And that's what makes him an extraordinary human being that
Absolutely.
will be in the Hall of Fame, not as a coach, but as a real world leader and champion pioneer.
To me, he always reminds me of when you watch like Kung Fu Panda, the almighty wisdom guy. That's Coach Smith, who he's always everywhere. He always is kind of watching you. All right, we'll kind of get into kind of the fun part of it. The 9 questions in 90.
That wasn't fun. I thought we were having fun, man. I'm enjoying myself.
The 9 questions in 90 seconds. It's kind of just a quick rapid fire. Back and forth to you, however you kind of want to go with it. Don't give too much time to think about it. All right, so the first one. Do you have a favorite team you have ever coached? Doesn't have to be at St. Thomas. It could be anywhere.
Oh, my gosh, man. All the teams are just so different. They're different personalities. I honestly would say, my favorite team, and I know this sounds cliche, is probably the next one. It's the uncertainty, the development process, the challenge behind not knowing what
might come
is ahead of you. So I enjoy that process. Every single team that I've had the privilege to coach has been a rewarding, gratifying experience with each and every personality. So there hasn't been one specific. So I always look forward to the next.
The next one. I like that. That's a good one. All right. Obviously, a man of God, favorite scripture from the Bible. Mine is John 13:7. You may not know now, but later you'll understand. Your favorite scripture you always use.
My favorite scripture, there's so many. My family scripture growing up was, Psalms 23. And the Lord is my shepherd, that whole entire thing. But I would say, one of the scriptures that, is near and dear to me is Proverbs 3, don't lean on your own understanding, because as humans, we become so caught up with thinking that we're in control of everything. And it's just a reminder that God's plan is much better than my own. He's actually in control. And I'm grateful to just serve and do the work.
Yeah, I like that one. I got to see Nick the other day. Obviously, both the Bosa brothers coming out of St. Thomas. During their time here, who do you think had the bigger impact, Nick or Joey? Nick or Joey Bosa?
They had equal. They actually had an equal impact. If you ask Joey though, he's probably extremely proud of his little brother, man. There's something there to it. Nick was able to watch Joey set the path for him, which is never easy for an older sibling. So he's done a great, extraordinary job of continuing to lead his younger brother. And I think that Nick appreciates that, and that as a result, he has the advantage. Nick definitely has a major advantage in watching his brother's success and aspiring to be better than him, but also watching some of the mistakes that he made and allowing him to evolve. So, but both of them are extraordinary human beings, man. We're definitely gifted. God has done an extraordinary job, not only from a talent standpoint, but as more importantly as people.
Human beings, yeah. Both of them obviously being successful at the next level. Coach, from Jamaica, you got to have a go-to food or something that you can cook. I don't know if you can cook or you can throw down. But what's your favorite kind of go-to food?
Not like my wife though. Not like my wife, but my wife can cook. My favorite go-to Jamaican food, or what's my favorite go-to food?
I mean, I was assuming it was Jamaican, but it can be anything.
No, I do. I love Jamaican food. I really enjoy eating oxtail, rice and peas, dumplings. I enjoy curry goat.
I don't know if I would trust your cooking yet.
Yeah. But I would have to say, as I get older, and if you ask any of your teammates, those that really focused on what they see me, and they're probably like, Coach is an oatmeal guy. I eat oatmeal because I think it obviously is healthy for you, but it's also really quick. I feel like if it's good for horses, then how can it's good for humans too. So
you can find out actually about when a coach knows how to cook or not is when the coach decides to have everyone over the house, whether or not it's for the Super Bowl or to watch a game, whether or not to get catered food, or they're making food themselves, or if it's their wives.
My wife is gonna cook it. I'm gonna help. I'm a good assistant. I'm a good assistant in the kitchen, but my wife, Marissa, she could definitely throw down. So she'll be doing all the cooking. She can cook a wide variety of different, ethnicities, man. So she's excellent. But I think if there's one thing that she's really, really known for, I tell her she can open up a restaurant just serving her mac and cheese, man. Her macaroni and cheese is amazing. I haven't tasted better yet, and I don't. Anybody who has,
Mama Wingo's has some for you there.
They gave her the title. I haven't heard anyone that said that they've had anyone's macaroni and cheese better than hers. So
I'll have to give it a try then. All right. Any other coaching job in the world? What do you think you would do besides, being the head coach of St. Thomas? What do you think you would do?
Okay, so I started off. My career coming out of college. I got into behavioral therapeutic intervention, and just working with kids that were social emotionally disturbed or whatever, and that coupled into athletics. And I always enjoyed working with people in need, whether it's autistic kids or just children in general. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all in need in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
You put yourself out there, we can all connect with one another and help each other from an interdependent standpoint. However, when I moved back into the South Florida area, my fourth grade teacher, Brenda Hawks, Miss Hawks, asked me if I wanted to, work. I've always been, what athlete isn't enamored by their PE teacher? She called me, she knew I was in the area, she knew I was working in education. She said, I have a PE opening, do you want it? I was like, oh, absolutely. So I was a PE teacher, and I enjoyed working with those kids, and it could be, it's challenging at times, getting young kids to follow instruction. So I
was one of those kids. I was one of those kids
too. But I enjoyed it. I loved running around. So I always told myself, as God transitioned me through this, life process, from husband to father to community member, business owner, coach, and so forth, man. And I'm grateful for this opportunity. I always said when I retire, because I don't see myself retiring, because I do see this as a vocation and a ministry with regards to what I do. But when it's time to hang it up, I don't ever want to hang it up. I feel like I do want to get back into elementary coaching.
Okay.
Youth league, elementary schools, because those kids are extremely innocent, they're impressionable, they're influential, and they see you as a superhero, and everything that comes, because you bring so much joy to them and love, they return it. And even when they're disappointed and frustrated, there's love coming out of it. And they see you as a superhero, man. Like you're like one of the greatest experiences and people in their life. So that was always an extremely gratifying, positive experience for me. So I know a lot of people may say, any coaching job, any college job, NFL job, and all that, it's all great. I think that there's a tremendous amount of respect in those industries, but working with those little kids.
Working with the little kids.
Something about it.
I can definitely see you working with the little kids, obviously being able to, just the way you are with words, having the impact on others, doing that after your time here. Definitely not being a cook in the Mrs. Harriott's restaurant. Not being an assistant cook in there. Right. For our last one, a role model for you. Obviously, being such an inspiration. Who's kind of your biggest role model that has just inspired you to be the person that you are today?
There's many, man. There's many. You know, when you're a kid, you know you get your influence. But when you're growing up, people try to tell you to live a good life and be a good person, and they pray with you and guide you, and you know they want you to be devoted to God because they know the impact that Christ makes on your life and things of that nature. So my mom and my parents were a big influence in my life. My mom with her spiritual devotion and love and her commitment, her connection to family, and made a huge impact on me. And my dad's ambition to be just extraordinary and be great. They were a great source of inspiration for me, to the point where most children aspire to be a professional athlete or a doctor or a lawyer for whatever reason. And obviously I contributed to my parents with the challenges and the struggles that my parents went through. I knew it was always love there. And I always aspired to be, a devoted husband and father, and I never compromised that, position in my life, not even for, opportunity to provide, more resources and money and materialistic things for my family. I never put being a provider over being a husband and a father. And I contribute that to my parents. They did a tremendous job of making a number of sacrifices and doing their best for us. And, obviously my siblings and I, we have, a close bond. Outside of my parents, obviously Coach Smith, he's a great, tremendous role model. We're very fortunate to still have him around me to connect with. But in his youthful days,
probably lurking around somewhere.
Yeah, he's here somewhere. In his youthful days, he made an impact on so many different lives, and he kept constant with it. And he was just the epitome of consistency and inspiration, and just motivating others to do their best. So there's been another number of people, and as I get older, Derek, to be honest with you, man, like this world thing and us being humans, being great resources on this earth, and not realizing the power and impact we are from a miracle standpoint. We're all miracles in our own way. We just are so competitive and envious at times, and we just don't realize the impact we can make on one another. So I really look to Christ, not so much from the religious standpoint is important, and I think the church and the body and the things that Christ represents, but more so for me, Christ as the man. He's a tremendous role model for me, for what he stands for, what he's done with regards to love, sacrifice, and faith. I know for some it may sound cliche, but for those who spend their time praying and meditating and learning more about the gospel and his walk and his connection to team with regards to his disciples, that was his team.
Thank you again, Coach, for the time to talk about a little bit of, the history of St. Thomas, being around, what it's like for you being the head coach. I saw a pretty cool quote from, it was actually from LeBron. It was, you can't call yourself a winner until the next one, right? And you talked about the next one and the next one, and that's exactly what you are, a winner. So thanks again, Coach Harriott, for your time, and I appreciate you, chopping it up with me a little bit.
I'm proud of you. I'm happy to do it. It just feels like yesterday I was coaching you, and now you're sitting here. It's just surreal. Just continue doing what you're doing. You're a tremendous, asset to not only as a St. Thomas Aquinas alum, but you're about to do great things in this world. So I'm looking forward to watching you grow.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Coach. And that's it for the episode. Wingo out.
Cool. Wingo out.